Yo, what's up everybody? Drewberry here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about ranked, and I'm going to give you 5 tips that I know will get you from bronze to silver to gold rank. Okay, if you're struggling in the bronze and the silver, don't worry. Focus in on the tips that I'm going to give you and you will get there. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's start it off by talking about what I think is the most important thing in Marvel Rivals is understanding how your ultimate charges and all the little nuances that come with it on certain maps. Look, I've got a full list right here that you can see of details on how this works. I've tested it out in the practice range, in games, and this is what I've come to. So your ultimate is going to charge over time. We already knew this. It ticks 1% every few seconds or whatever it may be, but that's a very slow way to get your ultimate. The best way to get your ultimate is to deal damage. The more damage you deal, the faster you are going to charge that ultimate. Now I'm saying charge for a very specific reason, which we'll get to later. But first, taking damage does not charge your ultimate, okay? I have to make that very clear because when you're a tank and you're going right in front of the enemy and you're just soaking up damage like crazy, what are you really doing? You're not doing a whole lot other than charging their ultimate. That's not a good thing. So we don't want to always be right in front taking needless damage. As a tank, yes, you do have the higher health pool, but taking unnecessary damage is going to help your enemy team in the long run. Another really important factor about your ultimate is if you switch with your hero while you're over 50% charge on your ult, you're going to go down to 50% if you switch. So if you are at 99%, okay, and you want really badly, you got to switch heroes, maybe even got to switch to fill a position like the strategist role, don't do it. Go out there, use your ultimate, because you're going to lose 49%. That is a lot of wasted time, and we need your ultimate now, so you might as well go in there, use it, and then switch later. If your hero is below 50% ultimate charge, well, guess what? You're actually going to retain the charge, so you can freely swap heroes. So let's say you're at 49 and you want to go to the strategist role, you want to switch to Cloak and Dagger, go ahead. You can, because all of a sudden Cloak and Dagger are going to have 49% charge on their ultimate. So when I was saying charge, I really do mean charge because ultimates have a cost. We know this because they publicly listed all of the statistics for abilities on the public website for Marvel Rivals. So they listed all of the costs for each ultimate per character, and wouldn't you know it, they're all different. I didn't really know that. I knew some got them faster than others, but I didn't know why. And when we looked through it all, Spider-Man actually has the cheapest ultimate at 2,800. The number doesn't mean a whole lot, but basically he can get his sooner than other heroes as long as he's continuously dealing damage. And then Adam Warlock actually has the slowest ultimate to charge up, being at 5,000. So he doesn't get his as frequently in a match. And then as for the map types, it has a huge implication on your ultimate charge. If you are in a domination mode, the domination map where you have 3 zones of control and it's the best of 3, your ultimate charge will carry over from map to map. So if you are winning, no shot the enemy team is going to make a comeback and you have a full charge of your ultimate, you better save it. Don't use it. Wait until the next map where you then need to take control of the zone again and then sweep the whole game. And on the reverse side, your ultimate does not carry over in convergence or convoy maps. This is because these are offense versus defense maps and you're completely switching sides. Maybe you're even switching heroes to better suit that map type. But basically, use your ultimate if you got it. If the match is about to end and everyone's pushing, there's a big fight, you're not going to help anybody by holding on to it, saving it for later. There is no later. Use it now. Okay, so you don't want to be Mr. Knight there, right? You don't want to be running in alone, dying, and then you got to go back to spawn. Then your team is shorthanded. They're going to be 5v6. They're probably going to die. And then there's this terrible, snowball effect of never really being with the team, never being 6 while the enemy team is on the point. They're all 6 of them ready to go. Don't be Mr. Knight. Okay, group up with your team. One of the best ways to know if you should go into the fight is to check death timers. If you're making your way back from spawn and all of a sudden you look at the tab button on PC to see who's alive, who's dead, you see 2 are down, well, maybe it's not a good time to go and fight because you just lost 2 allies and the whole enemy team is up. So let's just wait the 10, 20, 30 seconds, whatever it may be, for the team to assemble, and then you make that final push for the objective. Here's a quick example of where we were very close to losing the objective, but I decided to wait the few extra seconds for my allies to respawn, and I even used the retreat button to tell the other allies that are alive to not go in. Let's hold back, wait, regroup, charge in, win this objective. Check it out. We got 3 down. Careful. Let's wait and regroup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm going.
Watch your whiskers, Tippy Toe.
Nice, good job, good calls, man.
Let's go. Thanks.
You'll have speed fighting until we have a winner.
Little tank shot caller there.
Doing better than they are.
Caller, shot caller.
Who dares summon the Queen of Heaven?
We don't have a healer. That's right, Drew. You don't have a healer and you didn't help. You didn't pick a strategist. So, it's a sad reality, but, as a lot of people have experienced already, everybody loves to play duelists, which is fair. I know there's a lot of fun characters. They're very fun abilities. You want to deal a bunch of damage. But if you're in ranked mode, and this is just, unfortunately, the sad reality of the game, a 2-2-2 split is the most sought after, successful recipe for a composition. Okay, it's kind of the goal when you're going in there. You can definitely flex and mix and match it, but generally you want the 2-2-2 split. And if your allies play a lot of duelists and they want to play duelist and you're going to force them on strategist or vanguard, they're probably not playing their best heroes. You want them at their best. So when you, the competent strategist or the competent vanguard, choose to play that role, you're allowing your allies to play their best characters, which is probably going to give you the best odds of winning. So get familiar with playing strategists, get familiar with playing vanguards. There's going to be a lot of times when you queue up and people have already taken the duelist slots. And then you're going to have to flex and fill to make the composition work. If you're stubborn and you don't, well, it might work out for you, but it very well might not. You're either going to handicap the composition of your team, or you're going to put your allies on characters they're not familiar, they're not comfortable with, and they're not going to perform to the best of their abilities. And also, while I'm here, don't flame your teammates. Literally, if you start typing at your allies, that is wasted time, and you're going to make them type, which is going to waste their time. Nobody's helping when they're typing. All right, so let's talk about the maps. Map awareness is typically referring to positioning in a map, but I think there's a lot of mechanics with Marvel Rivals that are important to understand as well. Here are the 3 types of the maps. You got Domination, Convoy, and Convergence. Domination is that 3 set, best of 3, where you're zone control, trying to fight over a specific area. Convoy is where it's just a payload and you're pushing it all the way to the finish line. And then Convergence is a mix of both. It's where there's an objective, there's a zone that you need to control to unlock the payload, and then you push it to the finish line. So these are the maps that are in the game as of this video, but here are the details for each mode. So Domination, I don't really need to talk about this. It's pretty obvious and general, best of 3 random map, mission area unlocks at 30 seconds. But Convoy and Convergence are very important to understand with competitive. It is different than in Quick Match. Quick Match is just 5 minutes and you go, and it's either your offense or defense. And when you queue again, you're going to be one of those sides. Well, in competitive, In ranked mode for Marvel Rivals, it's offense versus defense, and you alternate. So an entire match is complete when each team has had the chance to be the offensive pusher and on the defense side trying to stop the offense. So what happens is matches are now 4 minutes to try and push as far as possible. It calculates the actual meters of the progress for your payload. So seeing how far it actually gets. And then it's up to the other team when they flip to get further than the team that started. So a couple of things here. Checkpoints. Okay, so checkpoint time bonus for Convoy is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. There's 2 checkpoints on the map. Like for Isengard, there's the big wall that you get to at the beginning, and then there's a giant door. And then these are checkpoints that give you that bonus amount of time. Why is this important? Well, it's good to know that you have extra time to get all the way to the finish line, of course. But because we're trying to get as far as possible, we need as much time as possible. And it's going to have implications in overtime. You see, overtime is when both teams get to the finish line. When that happens, any leftover time, let's say you got to the finish line with a minute to spare. Well, that minute is going to be tallied over into overtime with 1 extra minute on top of it. By default, teams get 1 minute to push in overtime. But because you got there sooner in the first round, you now have more time in overtime, which is going to give you an advantage over your opponents. And it doesn't have any checkpoints. It doesn't give any bonus time. So you're just using whatever you accumulated to get as far as possible. It doesn't need to be all the way to the end. It just needs to be further than your opponents. When we understand the functionality of the maps, we give ourselves a better chance at winning. Better decision making is going to lead to those W's, okay? Use the training room. Oh my gosh, I think so many people just went right to quick match straight away. No, go to the training room. It's amazing. There's so many cool things you can do. Here I'm Hawkeye, and I'm going to show you one of the greatest tips if you're trying to work on your aim. I like to do this all the time before I start playing in quick match or ranked modes. So once you get to this big room here with all this open space, you can go here to the parameters, and you can change these settings however you like. I'm going to show you one example, and we're not going to use the Galactobots because they actually stay on the ground. Instead, I like to use a flyer. It makes it a little bit more difficult to shoot, so we're going to shoot at Storm. And then once I take Storm, I like to make the target distance random. I just want to simulate as best as possible player movement. We're going to make it mid-range, we're going to make it dynamic movement, we're going to go random, and we're going to make it quick. You can even go super fast if you want. Whatever makes it more difficult and a little bit more realistic for me to shoot. Watch what happens when we start this up.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So as you can see, the storms are moving all crazy, and it's, you know, just giving us that good little bit of practice of target aiming. Now, I don't think aiming is necessarily everything, but if you do plan on playing a character like Hawkeye, Black Widow, or anything of the like that has ranged DPS, you're probably gonna wanna work on your aim a little bit, and I think this is a great place to do it. Honestly, this is just a quick example of the practice range. There's so much that you can do around here, even working on movement. Here's a quick clip of Iron Fist doing crazy jumps and flips. I was just trying to simulate how far I could move him across a map, which was just a good example, so that when I go into a game, I know that I can just basically fly. So that's going to do it for me. Those are some of my tips for getting from bronze to silver to gold. Again, literally everybody can do this if you just keep practicing the game, playing the game, thinking about these things, being patient, not running in on your own, considering your ultimate charge, and just using your ultimate efficiently. There's a lot of nuances when it comes to characters, of course, little tips and tricks that you can do with characters to be better. But I think that's a little bit separate. This is a more general game knowledge that's no matter what character you play, it should help you take that next step. So I hope it did help you. Please like the video if it did. Subscribe to the channel. I plan on, giving tips on all the characters moving forward to see how we can improve our rank and getting to the top. That's the plan. But thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.